Boom, coming in hot, Chinchy. How we doing today, brother? On a nice Friday.
Very nice Friday. I'm so glad it's Friday. Dude, what happened, man? Before we started, you're kicking your stuff all
Dude,
around your house.
well, I got this mallet finger that I broke taking my pants off. But don't tell anybody that. Really, what I tell people is I'm into pickleball and I dove and broke it. But
Pickleball.
the realization is it got caught in my pants or whatever. Anyway, that's so ridiculous. But dude, I was changing the battery of the of the camera, and I got to spin it off its thing, and then screw, and then put a new one in. But dude, you don't realize when you got your fingers all messed up, it's like everything takes so much longer. So I'm going to screw it back on, bro. Thing goes flying off.
The camera does?
Yeah, yeah, lands on the hardwood floor, pretty high up. I have it pretty high up. I'm like, oh my god, is it broke? Next thing you know, I'm on the floor trying to find it, but bam, we made it. So it didn't break. It didn't break.
And your fingers? How's your finger feel? Do you feel it?
Dude, I talked to the doctor yesterday, and I have to tape it back. So it has to be extended up like this, like
so
this.
It's straight. So it's straight.
No, straight, but up, like extended back.
Oh.
And listen to this, bro. Every day I have to take it out and anger the tendon so that it gets some blood flow so it heals.
Right.
Anyway, dude, if I take it out and it falls, it starts over again.
Oh no!
So it has to be in 8 weeks. But if I take it out and it falls,
you start
the clock starts. Yeah,
that's horrible.
So it's just a pain. It's a pain in the butt injury. Pain in the pan injury, bro.
Pain in the pant injury. Nice. Hey, so we were talking before. Did you see what Wandy Peralta did yesterday in a baseball game?
What did he do?
He struck a guy out in under 20 seconds.
Did he really? Wow.
Under 20 seconds. And so already so far, it seems that games are getting shorter. Like, what's your take on the pitch clock and if it's working or not?
Well, I think it's working. There's no doubt about it that it's working. I mean, what is it? 230. The game's have been averaging 238 when usually they're like 301. That's 23 minutes. That's a ton of time. And I also think that, when I think of that Wandy Peralta doing that on 3 pitches in 20 seconds, first off, if I'm a hitter, I have 8 seconds to address the pitch. I have to have my eyes to the pitcher. Right. I'm going to take all those 8 seconds. I got to get my routine down so that 8 seconds is mine, right? And the other thing is, hey man, he's quick pitching me stuff's going to go away. Remember, remember all the times I know when I was playing. Your job in the box is to control that box. So if he's quick pitching me, I could give the umpire time, and he would give you time until you were set. That's no longer a thing. And you saw Wandy Peralta here. As soon as that batter was addressing him, bam, he was quick pitching. And you saw we threw a 85-mile-an-hour slider, 94-mile-an-hour heater, then beat him with a changeup. 1, 2, 3. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. I think you're just going to see more of that. Because at the end of the day, the hitter's job is to disrupt. The pitcher's job is to disrupt the hitter's timing. And nothing worse than disrupting a timing is when you get quick pitched or when the action's happening now. So hitters mentally, you got to be ready to go. You can't just address the pitcher and be like, okay, I've addressed the pitcher. As soon as your eyes get ready to go, you've got to be ready to go. Yes, I'm swinging. Here we go. That's what I would do. As soon as my feet are in the box and I address that pitcher, it's go time. I'm ready. You're ready. Let's go. You can't just get in there and be like, okay, he still has 7 seconds, 15 seconds to deliver the ball. No, you got to be ready to go right there because you're going to see more and more guys doing that quick pitching guys.
How about this? This stupid idea just went in my head. If I'm a hitting coach, maybe I take one of my machines, one of my guns, for BP, and I wonder if you can speed up the time in between.
Yeah, we just
pitches of that.
Well, you're just if you're out there feeding it, which most coaches are.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, usually hands. It's not like the robot.
Yeah, so maybe
Maybe you're just locking it in.
Yeah, if that becomes
what would your leg kick be? How long? How many back?
I'd probably only get one leg kick in, dude. I'd have to do it within those 8 seconds. I always say, people on Twitter are joking around about what would Casey do? What would some of these guys do? And like Nomar do? What would Mike Hargrove have done?
Oh, they put your name in there? They put your name
yeah. I would have just my routine would just have been tighter. It would have been tighter. Right. You know what I mean? That's all. You make the adjustment. I always love this, man. I always love the fact that the big leagues isn't the I'll try league. It's the I'll do league. You either get it done or you don't, or someone's going to take your job. So like the whole, well, I'm just not used to the getting ready and I'm trying these things. Well, you better figure it out or you're going to be out of the, there's prospects and free agents waiting to take your job because they're ready to figure it out. So either you figure it out or you don't.
Exactly. The other thing too is like we are creatures of habit, right? So I think I've said this to you before. When I was in high school, my junior year, my league made a rule that you couldn't step out of the box. They would call a strike.
Right.
I always did step out of the box and everything, but
did they ever call a strike on you?
No. Because that year I was so nervous. Like there was one time I went to step out and I fell down. Seriously, like in the very beginning. But then I look back at so that was my junior year of high school. I never stepped out of the box again. When I got to college, I never stepped out of the box because it was just a rule that for 2 years I couldn't step out of the box. And then I never did again in my career. So like,
oh my God,
these guys, somebody else made a good point where a lot of these minor leaguers are coming from some places where they were in, they were getting, this was being tested on them,
right,
and sometimes some in college too, they were testing in some leagues. So a lot of these guys have been, it's almost like the kids who are like 20 to 24 probably almost have an advantage in a box over God. If I'm 36 and I've been playing in the big leagues my whole career and now I have to change, I think it might be harder for the veterans, right?
Yeah, I agree, dude. I agree. And especially the biggest thing with, I know for me, the biggest thing for me in the big leagues was my routine. And I'd say most guys would say that. What my pregame routine is, what my what my, not so much my post-game routine, but my in-game routine and my at-bat routine was so big. And that's, what you did for the next pitch. So, but at the end of the day, you got the old dogs have to learn the new tricks. You know what I mean? And I think you're right, though. I think the kids that have come up in the minors with these rules for the last couple of years, they were talking about that with Andrew Painter the other day, that one of the top prospects for the Phillies, who's 19. They're like, Painter had no problem just getting in there ripping. He's just had a whole year, with these rules. Right. So yeah, you're right. These young kids that are coming up that had the opportunity to play in the minors with these rules for the last couple of years, no doubt, I think have an advantage now. I think spring training, Chinch, I think these guys will all tighten this up, and come day one of the season, everyone will know what the hell's going on.
Yeah. You know what I have not looked up? Is WBC using these rules?
Wow. I would say
they should.
I would say
right?
yes. I would say yes.
Either way, like if I'm a player, I want to.
That's a great question.
Hold on.
You know what? Maybe no, I would say no, because they don't use these rules universally, right?
Correct. Like, yeah, they wouldn't.
And the WBC is not just a
Dominican. Oh, here we go. The answer is a pitch clock will not be enforced in a WBC.
Okay.
From some article here. Oh, NBC Sports. I guess I trust that.
Yeah.
Interesting though, but so let's just say if you're going to play in the big leagues this year, you got to probably try to do it fast anyway. Because what are you going to not do the rules and then go back and doing the rules? Like if you're going to play in the big leagues, Japan, and I'm not going back to Major League Baseball. I don't care, but it's an interesting point. I don't know. I wonder.
It is. Well, it is. And it's also interesting too. Like you're right. Those guys that are in WBC, I know if I'm in the WBC, I'm probably going to, if I'm Kyle Schwarber or if I'm, Pete Alonso, these guys, or Mike Trout, I'm probably going to do it the way I've always done it because I'm comfortable. And they'll definitely miss some time with the new rules because of, the WBC. But like I said, they'll all figure it out. But if it's not in the WBC, I'm still doing what I've always done. I'm not trying to figure out the WBC rule. I mean, I'm not trying to figure out the new big league clock until the season starts.
Good point. Okay. And then, well, speaking of WBC, you made a good point before we came on talking about if you're a young kid, again, trying to make a roster or, trying to show off for next year, you have an extra opportunities to do that because a lot of your guys on your team might be going to play in the WBC, right?
Yeah, this is a great time for prospects, man. This is a great time for young kids that are coming up. I remember when I was in 1998 coming up with the Indians, Jim Tomey's at first. I mean, there's Manuel, there's so many great players in the lineup, but I'm thinking, where's the WBC? I want to get some at bats while those guys are gone. You know what I mean? So I think it's big for the prospects, man. Big for the guys that are trying to, because at the end of the day, you're trying to get as many at bats as you can to impress the brass, the guys, the GMs, the vice presidents, the minor league directors, the scouts, all those guys. You want enough at bats where they can say, "Hey, listen, this guy really impressed at spring training." Who cares that the guys were gone from the WBC? He got the reps and he opened up the eyes to show that he could do it against big league pitching. And that, makes me think of some of the young guys that are going for some of these jobs. We saw, the Red Sox are really excited about Marcelo Mayer, who's out there at shortstop. They think he's a Xander Bogaerts, replacement. This guy's really good. Only got up to high A last year in Greenville. So he's obviously probably 2 years away. But, hey, he's going to get a nice look at spring training, already has. Anthony Volpe, who's the number one prospect for the Yankees, went deep yesterday in the game against the Pirates. He's going to get a nice look, with I don't know, there's not a ton of Yankees playing, but he'll still get a nice look at spring training, this year to get some at-bats to maybe see if he can make that team. Now, I did see he was number 77, which that doesn't help your cause when you're number 77, but 77 can become number 7 really quick if you
not on the Yankees, but
not on the Yankees. Yeah. Mickey Mantle.
I got a question for you. Would you have rather been caught, break and make the team in spring training, knowing you were only going to play 30 games and play a little defense, or are people better off for at least a full half season or something in the minors?
You're saying break with the team and not play
break with the
much.
team, but not play much at all. But you're 22-year-old rookie and you sit next to, I don't know, freaking Derek Jeter or whoever the guy is that you're going to replace one day, or do you want to play every day?
I want to break with the team, bro.
Yeah,
I want to break with the team. If someone goes down, I'm ready to go. Or, I'm taking BP with those guys every day. I can pick some guys' brains. I'm hoping I get at least 1 or 2 starts a week. That would be enough. I could stand in on some bullpens on the side with some of the guys when they do their pens. I could also see if they're going to do a simulated game every once in a while. I could jump in for some bats there. But at the end of the day, I want that big league clock to start as soon as possible.
Yeah. Also, you probably have billions of better practice resources with the big league team, right? And your minor league facility, not even close. Yeah. So
there's nothing better than there's nothing better than playing, but being in the big leagues, that's really where you want to be at the end of the day.
Yeah. It's so
do you know the Mickey Mantle story about how he got number 7?
No. What do you got?
Yeah. Did you know that when he was in the minor leagues, he was number 6? Let me see if I can get this right. Yeah. And then wasn't doing well. And remember when he called his dad and he was like, "Hey, Dad, I'm really struggling." His dad's like, "I'm picking you up today. I'm taking you back. You're going to work on the farm the rest of your life if you can't handle it." So his dad drives to pick him up, and he's like, "Dad, I'm good. I can play. I can play." And there's no way I could have made the story up because I'm almost positive. Yeah. So his dad picks him up, and Mickey says, "You know what? No. I'm staying, Dad." He's like, "All right, then." He's like, "Then don't call again. Toughen up and freaking figure it out." So I think Mantle's dad did call the Yankee brass though, and he said, "Hey, listen, could you change my son's number? I think he feels a lot of pressure being behind 3, 4, 5, and then Mantle was going to be 6."
I think you got this.
So it was Babe Ruth.
Yep.
Right, Babe Ruth
3, Lou
Gehrig 4, DiMaggio 5, and then Mantle 6. And they asked, "Hey, could you change his number because he feels a lot of pressure being number 6? Can you 7?" And that's why Mantle wears 7.
That's fantastic. You know how the numbers started too? I want to believe, unless we're both making shit.
And then Yogi was 8.
Right. However, back in the day, I think you wore the number of where you batted in a lineup. When they first started putting numbers, I think that's a thing too. We both could be completely full of BS right now.
I'm almost positive. There's no way I could have made up that story. That story is true.
No,
that story is true.
Dude.
No, as a matter of fact, I know it is. I want to say there's a baseball card, or there's maybe not a card, but definitely a picture of Mantle wearing 6 in the minors.
That is amazing, dude. How about this? So again, back in the day, there were no numbers. Like there were no numbers on jerseys in the very early years of baseball. So I get to Columbia. I wear number 4 my whole life. I get to Columbia. I'm like, oh, they must have retired number 4 because Lou Gehrig went to Columbia. I get to Columbia. There's no retired numbers, even though, first of all, they should retire his number.
Lou Gehrig wore 4 at Columbia. It's not retired.
No, he didn't. They didn't have numbers back then.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
that's right. That's right.
I still would have retired the number 4 if I were Columbia.
Yeah. That's the one to retire.
So now I get there. I'm a freshman. So the second part of that is when you're a freshman, they throw a jersey at you. You don't tell them, right? Which
you don't tell them, yeah.
Dude, there's this dude, Bo. He was a senior and he wore number 4 for all 4 years. And he wound up getting into some sort of law school or something early. And so he kind of like retired after fall ball. And he gave me number 4. So I literally got to wear number 4 my whole life, and I always look back at it and I'm like, dude, I wore number 4 at Columbia, even though Lou Gehrig didn't.
Dude, but
it's
so
still
cool.
like a proud thing for me, you know.
Dude, that's a great story. Do you have that jersey?
I have. Oh my god, I have one of my jerseys somewhere, and I used to like wear my college, like when I was like 25. I used to wear like my college like DP jersey like out like
to the bars like
I think
and the girls would come up and be like, hey, what's going on? You're like, hey, I played at Columbia, number 4, Lou Gehrig. My bad, check me out.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. Anyway,
dude, that's
do you have any college jerseys?
Well, really quick, I got some great stories. So when I was in high school, I wore 22 because of Will Clark. I loved it, right? Then I went to college. I wanted to wear 22, but a junior named Wayne Hoy. Wayne, I don't know if you listen to this show, but shout out to Wayne Hoy, freaking fireman up there in New York. He was number 22, and I was like, oh man, I'm so scared of Wayne Hoy. I'm not asking him. So I got number 20. So I wore 20 at Richmond, and then I wore 20 in the minors, and then when I got caught up to the Indians, they gave me number 52 because obviously I couldn't ask for anything. But when I got traded to the Reds, I think they knew that I was number 20, but Frank Robinson was number 20, which was retired. Shit. So I got 21, and then I was like, oh man, this is great because of Clemente. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, cool, I'll take 21. So I wore 21 my whole career. Get traded to the Pirates, and Clemente's 21. So now I'm like, oh man. So then I became 25 with the Pirates because of that. And then when I went to get traded to the Tigers, I'm like Michael Jordan, although a lot less status than Michael Jordan. But for one game with the Tigers, I wore number 12 because Lloyd McClendon had the 21 jersey. So I wore number 12 the first game I was with the Tigers. Really? And then I gave Lloyd a set of Nike golf clubs and a set of balls, and he gave me 21 for the next day. So for the first game I ever played with the Tigers, I wore number 12. I wish I could have that jersey.
Did it feel weird?
It felt so weird, dude.
So weird, right?
And Lloyd was the bullpen coach at the time, and he wore a pullover. So I'm like, dude, you're not even wearing the jersey. Can I get it? So Lloyd was nice enough to give me that. So I got 21. And then when I went to the Red Sox in 2008, I wore 22 because I wasn't wearing 21. That was Clemens. I'm like, I'm not wearing 21.
Oh, you decided like,
and I wasn't going to, well, they weren't going to give me 21. They're not going to give anyone 21 with Boston. It's basically retired. So I wore 22 in Boston so I was back to 22. I just thought of this. I was back to 22. From high school to college, I bookended my career with 22.
That is so funny, dude.
Yeah, I never thought of that. Dude, jerseys are a big deal to players at the end of the day. Huge deal. So what the jerseys that you wear matters for those guys, and I know it did for me, man.
I remember one game in college. We went on a road, and of course, in college, you're in charge of yourself, right?
Yeah.
I forgot my away jersey And so I had to borrow somebody else's jersey. And so I borrowed a dude who had 14. At least I had a 4 on it. 0 for 4, three
punchies.
And I never struck out.
Struck out. Oh, dude, there's no doubt that the energy
it's psychic. Like
yeah.
I was not myself. It's so stupid how that works in your head, but I just
totally agree. Yeah. And then you're pissed off. You're like, where's my jersey?
I know.
Never lose it again.
Never again. Anyway.
Oh my God. All right, brother. Well, Chichi, great. Have a great Friday, dude. Have a great weekend. To everyone out there, thanks for listening. Keep subscribing and downloading for us. Helps us a ton. And we hope everyone has an incredible weekend. Let's get it. See you, buddy.
See you.